Good morning. Okay, so about 10 years ago, my best friend's mom and my best friend showed me a snack that I've been eating ever since. It's really awesome. The name of the snack is pepino, and that is Spanish for cucumber. And you'll see why it's called that, obviously. I'll go through what the ingredients are to make this snack, how to prepare the ingredients, and then how to put it all together for the end goal. So as far as the ingredients go, you can use any type of chili powder that's your preference. You can add salt to it. Those are the things that you add at the end. And then the main ingredients are lime and cucumber. The tools that you'll need to make this will be something to stir with, a bowl, a plate to chop up, a peeler, and a couple knives to cut. So I'll start by giving you the step-by-step process of making the snack. So first you want to peel the cucumber. So over here. Have any of you heard of this before? This snack? Yeah, you have? Oh my gosh, people have. Okay, a lot of people usually don't whenever I make it, so that's pretty cool. Does anyone not like cucumber or chili or spicy food? Well, once I make it, you have the option to eat it if you want to. If you don't, some people have a preference of not peeling the cucumber. Some people like the taste of the peels. I personally like peeling it, but you don't have to. It's just a little different when you actually eat it, more crunchy and stuff. So after you peel the cucumber, you want to cut it up into thin slices. You can cut it into thicker slices if you want to, but you have more pieces to eat if you cut it into thin slices. So usually if I'm sharing with someone, I'll cut it into thin slices, and then it's kind of a battle to whoever can eat the most, because it's usually really tasty. Like my best friend and I, because we've been eating it for our whole friendship, which is like 10 years. So usually, like sometimes I have 2 limes for 1 cucumber, so sometimes we'll make like 2 or 3 cucumbers and have 2 limes per cucumber, and we'll share it with her mom sometimes, or we'll make her make it for us. But it's usually not just 1, but just for time's sake and demonstration's sake, I am making 1. So once you cut up the cucumber, you can put it into a bowl. After that, you want to cut the lime. As far as the lime goes, there is something that you can put the lime into and squeeze the juice out of it. It's like a little hand juicer. I don't have one, so I'm going to cut it into fourths so that I can squeeze it easier. But if you're using that tool, you can just cut it into halves and squeeze it in. Once you do that, you want to squeeze all of the lime juice you can into the bowl with the cucumber. Depending on how much you like lime, how much you like cucumber, chili powder, and all the other ingredients, there isn't really a set amount that you have to put in. This is kind of just what I've done through making it over the years. I've kind of just set amounts of ingredients. Like my friend and her mom put more salt because they like salt on everything. And I don't really add salt to most of my food unless it's absolutely necessary. So I have a little bit of salt to add just because that is part of the recipe, but I usually add more chili powder than salt. So there's that. So after you get everything in the bowl together, the lime and the cucumber, you'll want to add your other ingredients, which are going to be the salt. And for the chili powder, it's pretty dense. It's just chili powder. It's not weighed down with any salt or anything in it. So I kind of just put a little bit of this in. And then the other ingredient that I have is mixed up with a couple other seasonings and salt in it along with chili powder. Mind you, when I mix it up, I do have a fork, but my hands are clean too. So don't So I kind of just sprinkle a little bit over the top. And then mix it up. If you have, it's preferable to have a bowl or like kind of something like a to-go box with a lid on it. It's a lot easier because then you can just put a lid on it and shake it, and then it gets it all over it a little more. So you can mix it up. Once you mix it up, like sometimes I'll use more lime as well because it mixes all of the ingredients a little better onto the cucumber. Now that I have mixed all of the ingredients together, I'll lay it out on a plate. Sometimes when I'm at home, I'll just eat it like this. For you guys, I'll put it out on the plate. And after you lay it all out, you have a snack. It has cucumbers and lime and chili powder. This is pepino. There's one you can't be offended if you don't, but it's tasty. You like Yes, you can. Oh, that's another thing. If you put it in a bowl, you can drink the juice at the end. When you do that, it's really sour. Yeah, you can totally drink it.
It just is the best part.
It really is.
He just took the bowl.
Yes. Do you guys like it?
Yes.
I made some last night, so I have some in my fridge. I brought some today. I'm glad you guys liked it. I didn't want to carry it around or eat more. Like, take some of my practice.
On how to make tequila.
Do you like potato?
Have you tried Nikoma?
Oh yeah, you can make it with other things too. Fruits and vegetables. You could see it with like mango, jicama. I do it with bell peppers too. You can do it with other peppers depending on how spicy you like it. Sometimes I make it in a bowl, and it and it has like I'll put serrano peppers. I'll make everyone.
All right, well, I'll get started while you're cleaning up, and that way we'll save a little bit of time. The personal story about how you got involved in being able to make this with your friends, I thought was a good story. I think you could make it a little bit more interesting by adding some details and talking about the first time you tried it and what your reaction was. You know, just as they say, dance it up a little bit. But you're on the right track there. The thesis I thought was very clearly expressed. You had a good preview. The content is fine. It's pretty simple. You're just describing a recipe and going through the steps and putting it together. There might have been a few things that you could have added to maybe give it a little bit more substance. For instance, what cultures does this come from? How wide, you know, you asked at the beginning of the speech if people had ever had these sorts of things, and you were surprised that a lot of people had heard of it and maybe even had it before. I'm wondering why you were surprised. Well, I suppose because you needed to do a little bit of research to see how popular it was. Just little pieces of information like that, I think, would add to the presentation. The visual factors while you're speaking, you are standing in the right spot to work and speak to us because you're trying to do a demonstration at the same time. The gestures are all involved in doing what it is you're trying to do. I think at the end it might have been nice to pick up the plate and show us how pretty it all was on the plate before it all disappeared so quickly. But you look like you're having a good time talking about it, and I like that. Your eye contact, of course, naturally suffers because you have to pay attention or else you'll be slicing your finger instead of the cucumber. And I think that's a little bit problematic. One of the ways that people who do demonstration speeches get through a lot of these problems is that they have stuff prepared ahead of time. So, for example, they'd have, well, you know, here's the cucumber, the kind of size that you would like to have. And a lot of people don't like to slice, you know, don't like to peel it, but I find cucumbers more appealing when they are naked, you know, something like that. And then you just already have one that's already done. And then you say some people slice them into thick slices, and here's some examples of that. Have those already prepared, and that way you're not having to do it while you're speaking, and you're not having to look down. You can actually look at the audience and show them the things and talk to them. That's just prep work and a lot of extra planning that you have to do. Again, if you were doing a demonstration someplace, let's say you were working in a cooking store that sells equipment for the kitchen. You mentioned, for instance, that there's a covered, if you have a covered dish like you talked about a takeout tray, I just immediately think of all of those storage things that people get. Yeah, the Ziploc boxes or Tupperware type things like that. If you're selling something like that, why didn't you have that? That would have been pretty easy to do. Bring that, shake it up, and show us how it all mixes together really well, that kind of thing. So it's planning things, I think, are the thing that are a little bit problematic about the presentation. The subject is fine. You know what you're talking about. You say it in a pretty interesting way. I think you could add a little bit more content to make it interesting. Plan that stuff so you don't have to do so much of the demonstration and disengage from the audience. When you look up and talk to us, it's great. But you're not doing that very often, and that's the problem. All right, thank you.